one of my favorite things about the book is, and your tenure now at SNL has been so long, and I had a great time writing with you over the years, and I'm such a fan of your writing, and you talk about a lot of your favorite sketches. You have created some real indelible characters. Drunk Uncle, one of my all-time favorites. And I should note, you created two with Bobby Moynihan, the other being Anthony Crispino, Secondhand News.
Secondhand News, yeah.
Did you come up with Drunk Uncle first, or did you see Bobby and think that he would be good at being a drunk uncle? Because he's obviously perfect at it.
He's like a deep. It's one of the best acting performances you'll see on our show, because it's live and he's finding all these different registers so quickly and all these different emotions. I had come up with the concept of Secondhand News, and I was like, what about Secondhand News? And then he had the voice. He just had the like, yeah, I don't know about that, you know, like that kind of, which is a pure performance thing that gave it a whole other dimension. With Drunk Uncle, he came to me and was like, 2 words, like drunk uncle. I don't know what it is. Is there something? And I was like, I think there's something there. And then figured out like what the hell it was. But he was just like, I just thought that was a funny phrase. And the weird thing is, when you do that sketch, you know, Bobby and I both have uncles. So of course their first question is, now, is this based on me in some way? Like, I know I kind of go for it on Thanksgiving, but I can hold back most days. And so that's the first question is kind of like, are we okay?
From your uncles, yeah. You also wrote Cecily Strong's The Girl You Wish You Hadn't Started a Conversation With at a Party. I think I said it right. It's maybe the longest character name in the history of SNL.
I think almost no one, even fans of the character, know what the character's called. I think Michael Che said that his mom calls it the girl who's always wrong.
It's not bad.
It's something like that. And I was like, yeah, that's maybe better.
That was one of the more, I mean, I think people forget, I think that was the first thing Cecily did on the show, and it's one of the most like bravura performances I've ever seen.
I remember in the talk, I write about it in the book, but I remember being with you afterwards, like when you got off stage and you had just done it with her, like been out there and just seen the character the first time. And we had a moment afterwards where we were both kind of in awe of her performance. And because you just don't see someone who's brand new at the show hit it, like just knock it out of the ballpark in that specific, very fine-tuned way, and the confidence it houses. It was really special.
I think there was a moment where she glanced in her purse at a phone. There was some sort of physical moment that I just thought, who can also do this?
Yeah, own a small physical movement in the middle of this big character piece on one of your first shows at SNL, like. And the move, yeah, you're right. I remember she looked and like put the phone, and just with perfect precision and ease.
Yeah, it was like, she threw a perfect game her first time on the mound. It was amazing.
It really is. I think that's like the right analogy. Like it was like throwing a perfect game your first game.
It is. It's such a fun book, and but that is one of my favorite things about it is over the years on the show. And again, I don't think a ton of people would know this. You've done such a great job of identifying what's really funny about cast members and writing to that voice. And I think it's the most important thing for a writer on that show. And you're just so good at it, buddy.
I learned a lot from you. Like so many people who wrote at the show in the time when you were a head writer, you helped me tremendously. And I learned about writing for people from you. And you would write a scene where basically every cast member had a part, and it would be their funniest character that they never got on the show in some other way, like Fred's Mets character. Where I remember one sketch you wrote that was about people brainstorming themes for a prom, and Fred is already like, looks like he's a 45-year-old man with a mustache and a Mets jacket at a high school prom theme meeting, who's just like, what about the Mets? Yeah. That's so pretty cool, you know. It was like a throwaway thing you had done in the office, and you made it a starring part in this sketch. You were great at it.
I think we both would admit to the fact that we have been incredibly lucky in our careers to be surrounded by performers that elevate every word you would ever put on the page.
Yes, and that's what you learn. you learn your own limitations, and then you see someone else that can do these things that you cannot, and you're like, ooh, that's exciting to write for that, write for that person's voice, and get to do things that you can't do yourself.
Well, buddy, obviously nobody knows what the future holds, but I'm looking forward to hopefully the fall and SNL and you at the desk. And congrats on the book, and it's always the best to see you.
Thank you. It is wonderful to see you. I was trying to figure out some elaborate scam when you had an attic door still of who I could hire to be in there and jump out halfway through and scare you. But it turns out it's hard to hire street performers who will travel to remote places during a quarantine to scare people. And
to violate pandemic rules for the purpose
and then
of a laugh.
Yeah, hard to convince wives to let a stranger hide in a crawl space for a day before a show.
Oh, no, my wife loves all your ideas. They love all of our wives love your ideas the most. All right, I love you, buddy.
I love you. It's great to see you.